Well, you have arrived. We are Just to Serve TV, and we are back again. We don't have any fans, though. Something I'll talk to my co-host about.
No fans? What? Yeah. So, what about this Bryant Walsh case? Is Bryant Walsh actually winning? And how about Farwell? No death penalty for the death of Sandra Birchmore and her unborn child. Is that the right answer? I don't know. This and more coming up. Stay right where you are.
Justice, where are you? Michael and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
Where is justice? Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing
Will
"Oh
we
Happy
know
Day."
justice when we see it? To be and down may I lead the way, hoping justice will win the day. Listener clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
Hey, partner. Hey,
How you
see,
doing?
there's no memo today. You know, people give us a hard time if we accidentally seem to match. Today, you have on your diamond-studded tie, and I got the flannel and the cowboy. I mean, the baseball hat.
Yeah, we didn't match today, but I'm trying to do a little less of a makeup look, so I figured I'd try that out today. See, our viewers are so invested in my makeup and my bangs, and when,
You
when
know
my
that.
bangs need to be cut, I'm told right
know.
away.
I know.
So it's kind of an interesting situation. But good evening, everybody. We all appreciate you. We love you, and we can clap back if we can take care of ourselves.
That's right.
But I do
That's
have to
right.
talk to you about a little issue. This
Yes,
whole
please.
thing, I turned on this afternoon just to see where we are because I was busy trying to get subpoenas out and researching things that are boring to you, interstate subpoena acts and
Oh,
why some
yikes.
states have them and some states doesn't. I can tell you Massachusetts is behind the times. They don't have,
No.
not part of the Interstate Compact Act. Only one in 6 states in the United States that doesn't have it. And so I was doing those really, really interesting things. And then I hear somebody talk about, well, we're not seeing a white fan, but we're seeing an African American fan. Michael Bryant,
Those
bad
fans.
boy,
I
bad
I saw
boy.
that, and I
Don't
couldn't
make
understand
don't
why
make me say
they
don't make me racism out of a fans. Are you kidding
yeah.
me?
That's my way of poking additional fun at Massachusetts because they are so woke and politically correct there. They have to split time equally between the white fan and the black fan. Yeah. And
Oh
I
my
and I
God.
actually liked the shot that they used. Very artistic. The second shot has the
It's
fan kind
beautiful.
of like 3/4 of the way in the frame, and then there's one of the ceiling is beautiful. It's sculpted and
And it's a very expensive fan. I can tell you because
is
when
it?
I
Is
built
it?
a cabin, I was looking for fans. That one, that brown fan with the gold is it's almost like a Bogart fan. They used to
Oh,
call them
yes. Yes.
Casablanca.
Yeah.
A beautiful, beautiful fan. So don't make fun of our
Not
fan.
making fun of fans. I'm making fun of Massachusetts,
Okay.
which is
We
probably too easy.
we're glad we
Probably too
cleared that
easy.
up. Oh, it's
Yeah.
definitely too easy. I mean,
Yeah.
wait till I tell you about this whole Interstate Compact Act.
Okay. All right. Is that going to be on the test?
Oh, yes, that's going to be on a test. Do you know
Okay.
that years ago, when I was a prosecutor, like 47 million years ago, I mean, if you had to have a witness in another state, there was this whole complicated procedure, and you had to go get a commission, and you had to issue a subpoena, have your judge issue a subpoena in your state. You had to go get a commission in your state, then you have to take that subpoena out and go hire an attorney in another state. We did depositions like this, and they'd have to go and file an action to get the judge there to issue a local subpoena. Like I remember doing one in North Carolina, right, to do a deposition. But so they changed it, right? I mean, the lawmakers said, hey, let's have a compact among all the states where, if one state issues a subpoena, you could just take it to the other state and have the clerk of the
Well,
court sign
little
off.
reciprocity is nice.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
reciprocity and issue that subpoena under the guidance of the new state without having to go hire an attorney, without having a hearing by a judge and costing people money. Oh, it's worked wonderful for all but 6 states, and
Oh.
Massachusetts is one of them. So the
What a
thing
shock.
you learn about when you want to learn about Massachusetts.
What about do you know what the others are? I have to ask, even though maybe
I had a list today, but I don't remember.
I'm just curious if it's geographically kind of clumped together or if it's all over
No,
the place.
no, it was
Okay.
it's all over the place. And then of course that I wanted to tell you all about, just quickly about the fact that I almost wasn't even on tonight because I went to get this upgraded
Oh,
Spectrum.
The Apple saga continues.
Well,
Okay.
that's different from the Apple saga with the gigabytes, because when we had, how I am with Amazon Friday, and I had to get the upgrade for the Eero, the Wi-Fi, which takes all this 10 gigabytes. So then I was going to buy the big service from Spectrum, and so really did. It was great. It was only going to cost $20 a month more, which was really good because I've had this for a long time. But you know what they did when I purchased that? They cut me off on my one that I had right then and there. Like, I'm phone, like, we're sending to you FedEx, you'll get it in a couple days.
Oh, and then they
But
flipped the switch up and killed your service that you have.
My service that we have. So I almost wasn't on with you tonight, Michael Bryant.
Well, thank God for miracles. It's a Christmas miracle.
Christmas present.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get into those Walshe and Farwell cases. No, we forgot to. Usually we say, "Hey, do you have a rip and read?" I have one. Do you have one? We didn't do that. We forgot. I got a couple.
We have them. Yes, go ahead. Let's see if we match. Let's see if we match on our rip and read.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I don't think this one's too tricky with the Mangione. Do you have Mangione on your list there?
Well, I had it from yesterday, and we didn't.
Oh,
go ahead.
Let me give you the update, because this is what happened in today's hearing. As folks know, Luigi Mangione, accused in the death of Brian Thompson, the CEO for United Healthcare, happened right outside your building, literally. Just a cold-blooded murder. And now the media darling is in court as his defense team tries to suppress a lot of the evidence that was obtained during his arrest. He was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where McDonald's, kind of following up on the theme we had during the lawyer lunch today. We got way off track into McDonald's, and we'll talk about, and I can't wait to get your take on these DNA, the DNA preschool that we had today.
I have a lot to talk about.
I'll bet you do.
I've cross-examined. Yeah. I've done this, and
they would have been crying. These people would have been crying if you crossed. They would have just been shriveling in like a mass of Jello. Anyway, so they're having the suppression hearing. It began last week. He was sick Friday. They were dark Wednesday, so they only got in 3 days. Probably going to need another 2-3 days this week, and we hope to have Serena Townsend on when they are done. I doubt there's going to be any ruling from the bench, but at least when it's done, she can give us kind of a big picture. Well, what happened today was a lot of body cam has been talked about, a lot of the interaction at the McDonald's, because the defense is saying that, he was in custody, therefore for that 20 minutes prior to Miranda, those statements should be out. Also, they had no probable cause to search his backpack. And the prosecution is basically saying, hey, he gave us a false ID, which in Pennsylvania is a felony. So we got some rights to get into his backpack. Today, body cam of a cop that was taking him. I'm gonna make sure I get the quote exactly right here. This was as they were leaving the Pennsylvania courthouse. Okay, they'd already brought him in. They're going by, and at this point, this throng of followers and fans that he seems to have, they were already starting to gather. And he says, quote, "All of these people are here for a mass murderer? Wild."
Okay.
Yeah. So
wait a second. Mass murderer.
Yeah, mass murderer.
His terminology is wrong.
The definition is, his definition is a little, but it just gives you a sense of he's so happy or proud of himself, that he's got this fan base for doing something so horrific. And that's what I want to do. We're not doing it this week. There will be plenty of opportunity. It's too cold. And even the wacky supporters for Luigi Mangione, according to at least Mark Betterow, who was down there yesterday, and we talked to him last night, he said, they aren't out there. I want to talk to those people in the street and just try to have a conversation and have them explain to me why they support this guy and what he did, or allegedly did.
Two things. First of all, let me just make a point about courtroom procedure, though, because I've always ragged, as you know, about lawyers not being close to their client, not showing like they can communicate with the client, not showing like they like their client. His lawyers are right there. They're right in the pictures.
Yeah,
right,
I had a picture
with him. They're right up there. If you have it up there, they're right there. I actually like that. That's the way you should represent your client, no matter who it is. If you can't do that, if you can't be right there with your client, if you can't be talking to your client face to face, if you can't be sitting right next to your client, leaning in and looking like you trust your client and or you have no business being there. These lawyers are doing that. They are good lawyers. They're great lawyers. And that's one of my pet peeves with lawyers. You saw in Kohberger, not that anyone wants to sit next to Brian Kohberger, but from day one, his lawyer was like sitting in, he was in Idaho and she was sitting in California. I bet. as far away from it as she can get. And you just got that feeling.
Yeah, and what was the? Oh, what about even as recently as Adelson? You know, there was that impression of, you know, not everybody was huddled with her at all times, and it's a bad look.
It's a bad luck. So that was the first thing. The second thing is, and I'm going to say this, he has a built-in jury pool, because I have heard people say that forgive is not the right word, almost like the Boston Tea Party.
They excuse it.
They excuse it because the insurance carriers are killers, are murderers and killers, and for money. All right. And they get the little people. And I've had people say to me that should happen to more of them. Okay. So I'm not telling you I agree with that. What I'm saying to you is that's a built-in jury pool. There you go. That's Carrie Agnifilo right in there, talking to him, no fear, showing that she's going to represent her client. She likes him. And whether you like him or not, whether you think he's guilty or not, okay, right now
whether you care if he's guilty or not.
Whether you care if he's guilty. Right now, obviously he sits presumed innocent, even though we all saw the videotape. But you know,
no, it's okay. There's reason for misidentification. Look at how he's looking.
But she's right there with him, and it's how you should represent. If you're going to be a criminal defense attorney, well, be it. If not, get out of the business.
Look at this guy. He's looking like an Abercrombie and Fitch model. He sees the camera. He's mugging for the camera.
I don't know if he's mugging.
Oh, look at that. Well, he's primping. He's posing. He's doing something. That ain't just like, here's a cameo. He's looking right into the lens.
Yeah. So, well, you know. So anyhow, but I've had. So that's the built-in jury pool. Mark Betterow, and I think would make the comment probably that, look, if you're the feds and you've got dismiss the terrorism charges, bring him into federal court. It'll be a different jury pool. Probably not one that would be, shall we say, liking to his cause, and just get it over with. And if you have to use the death penalty as a way to negotiate, because obviously the feds know how to do that. They know how to drop the death penalty considerations. Do it if that's how you feel that really he should just be put away. But if you want to have him make his statement in court and get that jury pool that may agree with him, because I've heard that you only need one.
No doubt about it.
They happen.
No doubt. I think the voir dire in that case can be critical if it gets that far.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that reference to the death penalty in just a second with Brian Falwell. The other thing I had,
Matthew
Falwell. Sorry, I'm adding a production element to our rip and read. As soon as we're done with one story, I rip it like that.
I love it. I usually do that when I'm a cross-examination.
And then we read the next. Well, you know, sometimes Nancy Pelosi does it after the president speaks to Congress. Anyway, so next on the list is for our own Sean Paul Reyes, the Long Island audit. I toyed with going to this latest hearing up in Killingly, Connecticut. This is the case in which the Long Island auditor went to the home of Brian Fahey, at the time a Connecticut trooper, knocks on the door. Hey, dude, how come you get $80,000 a year in overtime and you have a 9-to-5 desk job? That didn't sit well. Fahey went back in his house, came back with a gun, and basically got in Sean Paul's face and walked him off his very long driveway, but back to the cul-de-sac, spitting at him along the way. That led to 3 charges against Sean Paul Reyes for voyeurism, felony, trespassing, criminal trespass, and breach of the peace. And Brian Fahey retired and was then charged with an assault charge, which we were up for the hearing, a couple months ago. And he was given some sort of deferment to some sort of, camp, something that's supposed to teach him a lesson.
Camp. I like that. Deferment camp.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like. You're going to go to day camp for this. So that was granted, but it did give Sean Paul the ability to say his piece, and he did. So today, back in court, and there was a little of this with the prosecutor. They dropped, and these were the first level misdemeanors. Remember, the voyeurism's gone. That was the only felony. So breach of the peace is an A felony, I think, is what they were calling it, and trespassing. Both were high level misdemeanors. Those are gone now, but they didn't dismiss the whole matter. They filed a new charge for trespass in the it's a third degree. It's the lowest level trespass possible, but it's still a criminal trespass. And then they said, why don't you plead guilty to this? Do you think he did? Do you think Sean Paul Reyes did that? No, he did not. So it's a max something like 90 days in jail and $500. Remember his bail is $75,000.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What is it with these towns? What is with these prosecutors? What is it?
I don't know.
You may be hearing the name of what is the cop again? Remind me his name again. Reyes. Reyes is our John Paul Reyes is our guy. Fahey.
Oh yes, Fahey.
Fahey. Just remember that name, okay? How did we at Justice Serve TV get to know about this absolute miscarriage of justice that was occurring in Connecticut? That you were the one who was right on it.
I'm trying to remember how it initially unfolded. To be honest with you, I can't remember.
I think you got it from somebody else. You think you saw it on somebody else's show.
I could have seen it on Sean Paul's feed, because he just passed, by the way, 1 million subscribers.
Good for him. Good for him. These audits, because they really, obviously, I mean, this one. Not only is he Disney said she saw it on Turtle Boy and emailed.
Oh, yeah. Were you guys? It might have been Dizzy that sent it along. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Diz. Yeah.
Thank you, Dizzy. Yeah, I remember that you were the one that mentioned that you'd seen it. But I want you right now just to hold that thought, and maybe someday in the future we'll pick that thought up. Now, say no more.
Okay, all right. And by the way, in the weirdness that continues in this case, the prosecutor's last name is Fahey.
You're kidding me. The prosecutor's last name is it no relation?
That's what they keep saying, no relation, but come on, it's the Northeast. There's a lot of incestuousness going on here. So if you took the family tree, they may be connected somewhere down the road. I can't
believe it. I can't believe it. So when is John Paul's next?
I want to say trial, because he just, there's there's a final pretrial February 13th, I think it was, and then bring it on.
I'd love to have him back. I'd love to have him on for another interview. I know that some people don't like it, but some people like anybody.
I don't care.
I don't care. I quite frankly, I like him. I think that it takes a lot of courage to do what he's doing. People ragged civil rights players who got killed for helping civil rights. Back when it wasn't so easy to do, right? I mean, he's doing things that are not easy to do, bringing up
and I know
corruption and all.
He enjoys the conflict. He does. You almost have to, because otherwise you would just be drained from it, because that's a lot of stress. He's just pursuing his right to learn on behalf of his audience what's going on in the government. The government's not happy sharing that kind of information.
Right.
So
I'd love to have him on. I'd like to find his backstory a little more.
Yeah, he has a checkered past. He has a little. So I don't either. In fact, that probably colored his philosophy going forward. Right. So no, I think it's a fascinating story, and
I love stories.
If he does go to trial, we will definitely be there. We'll be the pool camera. He asked if I could come today to record what happened, and it just wasn't going to work out right. But we would definitely go there if there's a trial, because then Brian Fahey will be the star witness, and what attorney wouldn't want to go after Brian Fahey in a cross-examination? So,
as I said, I love redemption stories, and these audits, they're all over the United States. By focusing on John Paul Reyes, you brought this to our attention here, or at least my attention. I didn't know how popular these audits are, and they're individual people who really seek to control the government and be a watchdog on the government. So it's amazing.
I think it's great, and only in this day and age could that happen, where non-traditional media has the guts and the access to do that. You're not going to see, local news doing this kind of stuff. They just won't do it. Sometimes it's because it sort of bites the hand that feeds them in an interesting way. But
I've seen some networks. I used to see, as I said the other day, I'm taking sides. I would used to see 60 Minutes reporters do it. I'd see Fox News reporters go with the microphone right up to somebody's house, right? They're taking out the garbage, like Tony Soprano right? And right in there to someone's house. Or if you did it to Tony Soprano, you may be, you know,
You might be in the dumpster the next time.
maybe in the dumpster.
Yeah. It just
But
doesn't seem to be. It seems like it's been replaced by, you know, every man. You know, you just don't see those, because even local stations back in the day had their, you know, action news, whatever, you know, person, and it's just not as common anymore.
Well, speaking about action news, you saw what Jimmy posted in your Cub Reporter days. You were giving bear advice. I said you were poking the bear, and I said this is what makes you so great.
Was this the
You were
Onion? The
fearless.
Onion report?
You're fearless, fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah, fearless, Michael Bryant.
I wish I didn't
reposted it.
I didn't see that.
Well,
I
it's
know
in
the
our
story.
feed now. It's in our feed now.
I know the
Okay.
story. There's a lot of curse words in it, though, so you know, be careful.
Yeah,
that was a while back. That was the Onion. They always did such great stuff.
Yeah, the Onion always did great things. Anyhow, I love your Justice Served TV hat, by the way,
Thank you.
with your embroidery on it. Check out our store if you haven't had it. And you know, somebody asked us, by the way, to make a purple standout sweatshirt for all of these standouts, which may be relevant in one of the cases we're going to talk about soon. Do you have any more? Because I have two.
Oh, you do? Let me see.
I have to, oh yeah, I just happen to be a co-host of the show. I happen to contribute when I'm around.
Well, you made it sound like you didn't have any when I launched into this.
No, I
thing.
said you know. Anyhow, I have.
Yes, go ahead. Oh wait, let me finish.
Go
ahead. Your
Okay,
turn.
all right. Just by the way, Madeira Beach caregiver. Hi, Madeira Beach,
welcome.
member for 12
months. I don't think I've been a member for 12 months.
Just checking in, requesting humongous amount of prayers for yourself. Oh my gosh. Well, whatever it is, we'll give you those prayers because you are just an amazing person yourself, whatever it is. Thank you, Madeira Beach, for coming back. Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. Anyhow, all right. So I pulled this off the internet and Judge, and this is up your wife's alley, actually. Lisa, who's a fabulous filmmaker. Judge grants request to unseal grand jury records in the Ghislaine Maxwell case.
Florida.
And this is just a rip and read from, this was the New York Times. The ruling cited a law signed last month by President Trump requiring the Justice Department to release its files on Jeffrey Epstein and his longtime companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, Michael, your thoughts about this?
That's not the Florida one? Is that a new one?
That's the one that just happened today.
Oh, okay, because the Florida one happened on Friday. The dominoes are starting to fall. Okay, it'll just be interesting to see if, or I should say, what they redact from all these grand jury transcripts, because those are sacrosanct and they do their best to protect the folks who speak out. So are they gonna redact both the people who spoke in testifying and the names they gave? I mean, that's the only thing that matters. Otherwise, it's just crap. So we'll see. And then there's a huge dump coming. I think it's the 19th. And I mean, like hundreds of thousands of pages.
Right. Supposed to be, I think.
Many gigabytes.
A lot of gigabytes. I'll need the big gigabyte thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be working by then. Yes, Geraldo Rivera, who used to be my client, by the way, because we did live in the same county in New Jersey, used to hide in the bushes. That's true. Absolutely.
He was, when we did A Current Affair, the remake, which was what brought me from LA out to New York, from Extra to A Current Affair. And the same people that ran the original, which was a Maury Povich hosted show, Roger Ailes was in charge at Fox at the time, and he wanted Geraldo to be our host. He was not. We had a guy named Tim. I can't remember Tim's last name.
It's such a good thing. I guess Tim should have opened Al Capone's vault, and then we would have all known his name.
This was weird because Tim, who was a super nice guy, his claim to fame was he wrote not pulpy novels, but it's kind of light reading type novels. And he used to be a defensive end for the Atlanta Falcons. And that was his career path. He still lives up in the Finger Lakes. And like a 4-hour drive, he'd come down to the studio to do the show, stay over a few nights, and then go back. Nice guy, super nice, but was not Geraldo Rivera. And even though we were getting pretty good numbers back then, because they wouldn't bend to Roger Ailes killed the show. So I move out here from LA, and they killed the show.
I'm not going anywhere.
Bye now. Thanks for stopping by. That'll.
No, you mentioned
that'll test your marriage. I'll tell you that.
This is actually
Michael
Roger? And I. No, this is my husband, Michael, and I at Geraldo Rivera's wedding.
Oh, nice.
Erica. Okay.
Watch out. Now we're going to get a copyright strike or something. Every time.
That's my picture.
I-
It's my
Doesn't
selfie.
it doesn't matter. People make complaints when you and the doctor are in a social setting.
Yeah,
Seems
like
to
my wedding.
happen.
I can share my wedding. Okay, so I can rip and read
Okay.
this. Okay.
Next.
All right, so whoop, we ripped and read that. Okay. Next, I actually watched some of this today. And all. And this was the Supreme Court of Georgia considering the dismissal of DA Fannie Willis' Senate subpoena. Here it is. But it was a really interesting argument. And by the way, I never got to Bryant Steele was also arguing a case, and never got to that. Maybe we'll do that as something else so we can do as a snack or something.
Like a snack.
But
yeah.
it's actually a really interesting issue. The issue is if you have a committee of the legislature and they issue a subpoena to come, but then the legislature changes, it becomes a different legislature. Does that committee subpoena go beyond and follow to the new legislature and all to make her testify? Well, basically, the Supreme Court of Georgia, what I think is going to say is the Georgia now the whole new legislature and whole issued a subpoena for her to be there. I think December 16th or 17th. Okay, if I recall. And they said, well, what does she do to testify? The justices said, and they said, well, why don't you get back? Why don't you let us know if she testifies? I think they're going to find the issue moot if she comes and testifies on the basis that she's followed the new subpoena, so they don't have to decide whether a committee. And I think they would hold that the committee's subpoena doesn't go forward. I think they would hold it because it's a committee. It doesn't go forward. Not the
entire body.
Yeah.
Do you think she would voluntarily testify?
Well, supposedly she's supposed to come, but if not, then they're going to issue this ruling. So we're going to see.
She's arrogant enough. She may just say, "What the hell?"
You remember with her case down there? I'm not testifying. I'm not testifying.
Until I do.
Right,
She's right.
So we have to check back.
Her attorneys are right there at the table arguing to quash that subpoena, and she's like, "Here I am." Yeah. So that's next week. Next Monday next week.
It's the 16th to 17th. So we have a lot going on. We have the Ghislaine Maxwell. We have the Epstein dump. We have the Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to be in court 2 days next week, and 2 or 3 days next week. Actually,
there's a status in Fitzsimmons on the 19th. Speaking of that, I've checked with everything I can check with, and nothing on Fitzsimmons from the SJC at this point. So,
okay, so anyhow, that's a rip and read.
I do think something could happen this week.
Whoa, look at this. Okay, so next week's going to be really very interesting. I'm going to be in court both Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe Monday next week. So just so you know, because of course we're trying to get it. Well, I'm definitely going to be down. I'm going to be in another state on Monday, working on a matter. But I'll be back for the show. So
okay.
You're not getting rid of me.
All right.
What you're going to have to get rid of me is probably Wednesday and Thursday. You're going to need a co-host again.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I can fly solo if we need to, but I'll reach out to some folks.
Yeah.
And then next week we'll still be in Walshe, so there's going to be that going on anyway.
Well, I mean, it's most amazing thing. So we have Walshe, and we have the other.
Let's start with Farwell, because it just happened. Walshe is plodding along, and we'll talk about some of those high points. But Farwell,
some of those high points
or low points.
Did you say high points today?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there were a couple of defensive high points. I don't know if there was a lot of prosecution high points, because I don't understand their theory of bludgeoning the jury over the head with lab students. But anyway, before we get to that, and I mean, as if DNA in and of itself is not tough enough on a jury, right? Let's just drag it out with 10 different witnesses and get nowhere. Anyway, hold on. Let's do Farwell first, because I was surprised, that the AG made the decision as early. Maybe it's a Christmas present. I don't know. And that it was to not seek the death penalty. For those who were wondering, when they added the second charge, the death of the unborn child, in addition to the death of Sandra Birchmore, the death penalty was on the table. But the law gives them, I think it's 90 days, maybe it's 60. I can't remember. But there's a deadline within which they have to decide yes or no. And that deadline was not up until, I think it's the first or second week of next month. So thoughts? Surprised that they did so early, and what they decided to do or not do.
And they decided not to pursue the death penalty, although there is a hearing December 16th. That's another hearing that's on next week.
Is that
So
is that a status?
to the calendar. It's a status, but maybe it's more, either they think they've got problems, either they think, because this administration's been like, death penalty is like, okay, any case that qualifies, especially when they added a newborn child, I was surprised. Because let's face it, I'm not a fan of the death penalty. I have to tell you, because I think there's too many chances for mistakes. I think it's unfairly applied. But if you are a prosecutor and you want to bludgeon somebody into a plea, who you believe is really guilty, as opposed to just bludgeoning them into a plea because you want to win, this was the case where you had 2 deaths that possibly could make the way. Now, are they worried because the state medical examiner still won't budge on whether or not this is a homicide or not, or are they worried because this was not his baby? I think it actually makes it worse that he killed her for no reason at all.
To
me,
I mean, we don't know whether he thought it was or wasn't. That's very much unclear. Either way, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. But so again, I'm not a fan of it. I tried a death penalty case at the time where I just said to the jury, "You decide. I'm not taking a position on it." My prosecutor, who was great, would allow me to do that at that time. But yeah, so that was big news today. Now, it also could be maybe they've struck some kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they would announce this, before that were to be laid out. And that could be what's happening next week. I don't remember if that's been on calendar for a long time or not.
So Missy, you actually have, we can show the stand-in, right? There's going to be a stand-in or stand-up.
Stand out.
Stand out, a stand-up, stand out. Yeah, there you go.
So the hearing is at 10:30 that morning, and that's at the courthouse down on the Bay, One Courthouse Way in Boston. Lovely location. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, because that could be nasty out there December 16th. But a very good cause if you want to get out there.
Yeah, and remember, everybody, I have a little bit of a crowing. It's not a conflict. It's my husband was the first one in the civil case to call this a homicide. Until then, that it had always been called a suicide. So
it still is, if you believe the
state medical exam. Massachusetts, we can't get out of Massachusetts. No matter what we do, we can't get out of Massachusetts. We're trying.
It'd be much more frustrating if, for example, if I were still in California. It is something. It's a positive that we can be there as close as we are. Just so happens that it's this nest of nastiness, and but at least we're able to get in there.
All right, sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. Be right back. It's a little cold here in New York. All right.
I know for December it is. I mean, this is to be in the mid-20s for the high. That's a little unusual.
Yeah. So.
Boo-hoo for us.
Yeah, so that's so. Anyhow, I guess we hope to have Mizzy and her and Senator Bergman's cousin Barb on the show to comment. Obviously, before that hearing, it was a little late today to get them on. But
this I think was a surprise. This was thrown out there today. So I mean, the smart money says that there's something else going on. Something else is going on.
Sounds like that to me. So we'll see. But so our calendar just got added again. We should actually put the calendar up for next week as to what's going on, because there's just so much going on. And again, you're going to be without me for 2 days.
I know. What am I going to do?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll try and survive. I'll see what I can do.
2 New Jersey cases all in 1 week. I'm a Jersey girl, but whoa, I hate leaving you. I mean, and then the first week, and I'll remind everybody, the first week in January, I'll be gone from the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, because I'll be in Harvard at the Trial Advocacy Workshop teaching. I was invited back this year. I'm in the first week, and Judge Beverly Canoni is in the 3rd week.
Too bad about that.
Yeah, I'm even going. Not only can't I get out of Massachusetts in this case, I'm going to Massachusetts.
Really? And so I'm just looking at the calendar here, because New Year's Day is a Thursday, and obviously Friday is going to be dead zone for pretty much everybody.
We're not going to be doing anything.
So you'll be there the following week. And what do we know about that Canero case in Jersey? It's on calendar for that day.
It's on calendar for that day. I haven't applied for the press pass. It's here. It's my next thing to do after I
get on that. They're very slow.
They're slow, but the New Jersey Supreme Court still has the issue two things about it. There's still the issue about whether the warrant for the search of the garage, the camera in the garage, is valid, right?
Give us the thumbnail of the elevator pitch. What this
Well, the
case
house
is
was
about.
on fire. His house was on fire, and so the police went and they took and looked at his camera, which supposedly shows him taking out this Porsche that may have something to do with the crime scene. Okay, and the trial judge suppressed it, said you didn't have probable cause to deal with that, and the state appealed. Now, my former partner, Mitchell Ansell, is actually representing Paul Canero, and his partner, Robert Honecker, who used to be first assistant in Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, is also co-counsel on that case, just so you know. So it's definitely a Monmouth County, New Jersey case.
And this is it's a murder case. I mean,
it's a murder case. That's
okay.
A terrible murder case. It's stabbing nieces to death, the husband, the wife, in a Colts Neck estate, Caneiro. But the judge in the case told Canero that he's going to trial January, whatever that is.
So they've had a number of delays, right?
Right. They've had a number of delays, and is going to trial. But I don't know how you can go to trial without the issue being resolved of the warrant. I'll have to reach out to Mitchell Ansell and see. But I have been lax because I have not gotten my press credentials. And also, Darren Gelber, my co-counsel in the Aiden Carn case, said he'd be happy to be one of our correspondents. So we're going to try to get him press credentials because he lives right in Monmouth County, about 10 minutes from the courthouse.
Sure.
So
and I mean, unless it's a minuscule courthouse, he may not even need a credential. You just need to go.
No, you need. You think it's
going to be overflowing with people?
Monmouth County is a big courthouse, and they've had some major.
I know, but they don't let public into the court hearings?
Yeah, they do, but they've had some major high-profile trials in Monmouth County, where I was prosecutor for 4 years.
I just can't imagine. I mean, unless it becomes a word of mouth, and then
I could always go. We could always
days.
go just to be somebody in the courtroom, but then
That's what I'm talking about.
You can't bring your computer and things like that. You just can't. And so you could just watch and then go out and report.
Yeah.
But I'd like to have the press credential, or actually, usually what I'd like to do is I like to be co-counsel at the counsel table. I kind of like to walk in the courthouse with everything I need, But I'm here with you, Michael. Can't get rid of me.
I know. Well, that week you're gone. You're nowhere. If that goes on the 5th, you're not going to be anywhere near it.
Right. Not going to be anywhere near that. Right? And it's going to be. It's definitely going to be streamed. So.
Well, and if they do start on that day, it's going to be jury selection. So that's going to take a while. Okay. Well, anyway, everybody put that on your new 2026 calendar as things start to fill up. I was looking down the road at a few things that are coming up. You got the Corey Richins case. You got our friend from Florida that was pushed, the OnlyFans model.
That's right.
We started laying the groundwork for that, and then they moved it, but that's coming up in the spring. So there are every month there is something of interest worth following. So, okay.
So we have that going on. So and then so we've gone through all those. All right. Now we have the case that's we actually promote the show on, which is Brian Walsh. So,
let me clean up something from yesterday that it was the end of the court day, and one or two mics were open, and you could hear, just like something. And then I thought, did I hear what I thought I heard? And who said that? I edited this just to bump up the audio. Let me bring this up for you. This is basically, you'll see that the shot is of the defendant, Brian Walsh, and one of his attorneys. It's Miss, I always mispronounce her name because it's way too simple. Is it Asa? Is it Yas? Is that right? I think that's right. No, I'm sorry. That's the prosecutor. It's hold please. Kelly Porges. Yeah, Kelly Porges. So let me see if I can find that, and we can listen to it a number of times. It's literally a blink of an eye. And I think I know what was said and what wasn't said, but I had to look at it under a microscope and play it. Okay, so here we have, this is the end of the day. You can hear clunking and clanking because people are bumping microphones. Watch it.
So we had to next.
Did you hear any of that?
No.
Okay. I will back it up here. And I bumped it up. The audio is it is
He's
double.
he's a very smiling defendant for somebody who chopped up his wife.
Yeah, well, hey, he's living it up outside the jail. And today's attire, we'll talk about when we get to that clip. It was like he's like, I'm just a normal dad. So here we have somebody says something. I will tell you what they say after you listen to it one more time. You'll see Brian Walsh's lips moving with no sound, and then his lips seem to say what you hear. But having looked at it a number of times, I think it's Greg Conner, the prosecutor, who we hear say, so we're doing DNA next, which of course was today. Good thing I heard it, because then I said, let's put that in our thumbnail. It's Anna DNA, and that's what basically all day today was. One more time. Here, let me get this back here for you. Okay, see all that lip flap? You can't hear a thing, right?
Yeah,
but then you do hear the next few words.
So we're going to do DNA next.
So we're going to do DNA next.
So we're going to do DNA next.
So when I was just sitting here in my little box in the corner, and I go, whoa, did he say that, or did he say something? And I've gotten to the end of it, and the bottom of the controversy. It was not him. And I looked at, this was our own feed, our version of the feed, right?
Right.
I watched a couple of others, 25 and I think 10. They cut the audio. Like you don't even hear this or the open mic with Greg Conner. But if you were watching us, you did, and then you can scratch your head and see, look, there I am down in that little box. Hey, what's going on down there? Okay, so that's the answer to that.
Yeah, and they did DNA all day, every day.
Boy, they did.
Yeah, and you know, DNA can be really exciting, but part of it was the way the Massachusetts broke it down. With, you know, usually there is somebody who you know, does the testing, and then somebody who interprets the testing here. But they had like 4 people on one item. You know,
it was so frustrating. It was you know. For those who were here during the lawyer lunch, I likened it to McDonald's. They talked about the batch processing, 4 steps, but not one person did all 4 steps.
No, each person.
I did 1 and 3, and I did 2 and 4. Well, who did the others? Well, that was Debbie or whoever. She's on fries today. I'm on pot pies, and so to me, you know, it causes potential problems. Maybe it's appearance over reality. But it seems to me you got that many hands in the mix, you're increasing the odds of contamination, of doing things wrong, clerical errors, all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because as we learned from Larry Tipton, who again does a wonderful cross-examination, and so that is, and some of them know that's 1/1,000,000th of whatever it is he would say, and the person would say, I don't know. You know?
And that's
although
what
the last one was really good. She knew.
She was, and that's why. Wouldn't you agree that they could have just used her?
It seems to me they could have used the head of the lab, except that they, you know, you really should have the person who does the testing. But it was just so repetitive, and you know, the prosecutor's way of presenting it. Just a hint, she would say, "And did you test? And what did you test next?" And the person would have to say, you know, 1.74321. Why not just say, did you test the thing that was a slipper? Now, what was the number that was given? That was this. Okay, so everyone knows we're talking about the slipper, right? And the number was given this for the. There's ways to do it fast, to increase it, to do it faster. Because when you came right down to it, at the very end, Larry Tipton made his point that really what you had, especially in one of these, and I want to show you a DNA chart. Okay, an exemplar chart.
Visuals.
This is not from this case. I pulled this off the internet. It's like a research place that has all these charts that you could just take just to show, to you know, to try to explain, or demonstrative exhibit, I guess.
It's a chalk.
Yeah, it's a chalk, right? And remember, in Massachusetts, you really can't use these chalks. By the way, it'd be so good if you could just say slipper. You know, here.
I mean, it's just common sense, and I think sometimes, and maybe with Ms. Yaz, she's just too into it. She needs to take a step. Yeah, but she needs to take a step back and say, if I'm having a conversation with somebody at the bar or at a barbecue, how would I be talking about this? and
Because
she
what
doesn't do that.
happened, right? What happened, Larry Tippett said, wait a second, you try to look and until the very end, they never got to fact what DNA is. Just pull up this chart for me, all right? Because they talked about taking DNA. They now do 26 markers, okay, of
Missy,
DNA.
do you have the chart?
Missy, can you pull up the chart? Missy is
There's
there
the
we
chalk.
go.
There
Okay,
it is.
can we like enlarge it a little bit, even if we want to get half of it in? Are we allowed to do that? Because I know you, Michael Bryant, can do that as much as you can. Just keep going.
There we go.
Try to
There
get
we
try to get, yeah, and then we'll move it over to the right, but right there. All right. So they take 26 markers. This is a chart that only has, it doesn't have 26 markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 markers. Okay. 26 markers. 26 markers plus they take the sex gene. So it's 27 places that 27 what they're called loci that they're looking for. And I didn't even hear the word loci until the last witness, by the way. And
Yeah,
an easy way
I
to
don't think
study
the others knew it.
No, they did 26. So look at 20. They were looking at 27 loci. This is one of them. Okay, D8S1179. Now, all right, and then they explain you get half your DNA from your mom and half your DNA from your dad. That's true. And so, how does that recommend? How does that show it? Well, how does it show it on a chart? It shows it when we're looking at it by numbers. Okay, called alleles. And so, you know, with the loci, and here's your allele. You have one at this location, D8S1179. You get one of those is from mom, 13, and one of those is from dad, 15, or vice versa, right? All right. Now, Missy, move over just a little bit on this chart. If you get to the right, just kind of go that way. Yeah, keep
Missy's going to get a new job. She's going to work in the court.
Right there. Now, this is not exactly what I want to show you because this is actually still too low. So this is actually over here where it's 2828. You see that there?
I see 2828 exhibit mark.
That's
3A.
actually that's actually a different loci. It's D21SS11, right? And it's 2828. So is that two different people? Is that mom and dad, or is that just one person? All right. Or is that just one person, not a mixture? All right. Then if you go to the right here, now this is actually two loci, it's 29.2, but let's assume for the moment that is 2829 and there's a 2. Okay. I'm just assuming for the moment. That would show you that there's a mixture because there's three people, because you can't have the three, you can't have the three alleles in the loci. You can only have two, mom and dad. If you have three, you have a mixture. All right. And so that's what Larry Tipton was getting to. He said, so you did all this, and on the one crucial item of, I think it was it the
hatchet, the hammer,
the hatchet. It was the hatchet, right? I mean, it shows there's a mixture, and you knew that because it was on three different on three different locations. There was three different locations. There was three different alleles. Okay, or there wasn't enough to call it. I think what actually came down, there wasn't enough to call whether or not it was Brian Walsh's DNA, because we only found what would be his DNA, which would be like 13, 15, 10, 14, 14, 15. Showing his mom and his dad. We only found that on one of the locations, right? Or three of the locations. We didn't find it on 26. So we couldn't say it was his DNA. And so he makes that point. But he had to wait to the last witness to understand that, wait a second, they had all these situations where they had possible mixtures, but they couldn't call it because it was too small to call.
Yeah,
and
on the slipper,
stuff.
They had two contributors on the slipper. Anna was certain, but an unknown male. And for Brian Walsh, it was 77 times more likely to be him than some other male. That's nothing. That's nothing. And they did even worse on the right sleeve of the Tyvek suit, the interior right sleeve of the Tyvek suit. It was only 6 times more likely to be him.
That's nothing. I mean, it was basically.
I think it was also 10 times more likely to be me. So,
yeah, it could easily be 10 times more likely to be you. I mean, because you're looking at such a small sampling size, and then you didn't even get into the issue of the weight of the sampling size, because the big issue in labs is that if you have something that you think is DNA, right? You have something that you think is an allele, okay, and DNA. What's the weight, okay? And that's why they were talking about nanograms and all. What's the weight of it? Because some labs will say if it comes to a certain weight, we can call it human DNA, and then we can attribute it to your client. Some labs will say we can't call it human DNA, therefore it's an exclusion of your client. All right. So all that kind of like got mushed into the last witness there, but the jury spent all day hearing about, well, item 1.247.86, which was, I mean, by the time I was going to sleep, and I love DNA.
I just thought it was so odd and so counterproductive for the Commonwealth to talk about this batch processing and have each of these young witnesses say, well, yeah, I'm qualified to do all 4 stages, but I didn't because of scheduling. So it just gave you this assembly line, McDonald's kind of perception of what they were doing. It just doesn't sound professional. It sounds efficient, and that's what they kept saying, but not so accurate. It's to me, and I loved how Tipton, the first few people, he just let slide, no cross. And then I think he started to get it. He started to see that these they're wet behind the ears. They if I were using my McDonald's analogy,
What you did, McDonald's should be actually you should make a
sponsor.
McDonald's to be a sponsor. The way you were talking about how great McDonald's was.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But these people, they knew that the fryer temperature for the fries is 375 to 400 degrees. But they didn't know other stuff. They were just given the basics to run their piece of machinery, and that's it. And so when they were asked by Tipton things like what a nanogram is and what a
they didn't know.
No, they're like that does not compute. It was embarrassing.
Right. I mean, I will tell somebody every time you get a sample of DNA, and if you go back and look at some of my crosses when I was doing crosses in Casey Anthony, when I had to do depositions because in Florida you get depositions of the DNA people for the FBI lab. I mean, you could take this one sample, a pinhead, and you could take 35 different samples out of a pin. It's so small, and that's why it can easily transfer. And I think Larry Tipton was going through that. Wait a second, you had something all crunched up in one bag in a trash compactor.
Yes.
You think that maybe the head of this thing could have transferred to something else, because that's all you have. That's all you have. Take your pin, put it down, and you've got 35 tests there of DNA, which you could get. So it was very frustrating to me. Anyhow,
and I do think I rather than dig into this and start tearing apart what they said and how they said it, I take a step back and say, okay, how does this affect the case?
Right. And you and I spoke about that. You and I were talking about that. So what? Yeah. We know he's admitted cutting her up. Okay.
Yeah. So is it really a big deal that they do or don't find some of her here or there? The manner of death, the blood, I understand that has a lot of impact.
Right.
But the actual, oh my gosh, it's her blood. I'm shocked. I mean,
it's this pen out of her blood, right? It's shocking. And how does that get closer to how he killed her and whether or not,
or his intent to kill her?
And you would think by the mere fact that he waited to do all these searches, well, what do I do? How do I hide a body? How do I make a body not smell? He would have, if he's planning to do it, he would have looked all that up December 25th, not January 1st, 3rd, or whatever it was.
There is, we're not going to dwell on some of the boredom, but at least toward the end, we got some video of some of his.
Everyone says he admitted to moving the body, but moving the body under the statutes, moving the body, but the jury is going to think moving the body is cutting her up.
Yeah, well, there's just way too much evidence that unless some vagrant showed up to help, that was how he handled his panic, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy, he does take after you in some ways. He's quite the shopper. He's out there. He's out there shopping like crazy.
He takes after you. He's at home. He was at Home Depot, right? He wasn't Home Goods at one point.
We haven't seen the video from Home Depot yet. That's the only one we have not seen.
Okay.
We saw Home Goods, and then TJ Maxx. I think they call it TJ. Or something, the parent company, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods.
Right.
They're very clever with all of their
and the jury's going to believe he chopped her up. There's no doubt in my mind whether it's conveyance of the body, whether they're going to believe he chopped her up. But then the question still becomes, did she die accident? You pushed her, you had a fight, you pushed her, she went down.
Right.
Did she die? I don't think he has to take the stand, by the way the case has got in at this point.
That's a very interesting point, and we'll see, sooner rather than later whether that plays out. I think they're going to have, in my mind, the prosecution is going to wrap up by the end of the week. That's the way I'm thinking. Maybe it'll slop over to Monday, but then the defense will have all weekend to try and figure out where are we and what do we want to do here. I'm trying to find just some of his shopping spree. I didn't get a.
All the stores you go to, except for Home Goods. I mean, he did have the card, the not the.
Yeah, well, that was interesting too.
Maryland, yeah.
Well, what happened was, and Tipton on Cross pointed. Oh, there's Dad. I mean, just like
Dad of the year.
He's like a normal dad there in his sweater. Somebody told him, said, "Look, dude, it's a softer, warmer look." So we'll see what happens tomorrow if it's another sweater day or if he goes back to the suit. Let me see if I can find those. There's one of them. This is Home Goods. Home Goods is a fun store. I do like going in there.
And that's where I think wasn't that where the card was? They had because somebody returned something without a thing.
Yeah, let me feel that audio.
But it was from Maryland, so it was her card that she
got
the credit on.
And so I was trying to think: do I care? Do I care that it's a family thing? It's not unusual for one person in the family to be charging or getting a credit that's then used by another family member. I don't see anything really nefarious about that, except that when he did use it, it was for the stuff to take care of the mop up.
Right. Near her purse, right. We saw her purse. Somebody pointed out, she look, they didn't find pajamas. They found a purse, right? And so maybe that gift card was in her purse.
That could be. Yeah, that could be. But yeah, they had the head of the whole operation there to say, yeah, that's from our DC store, X number of dollars for credit. So, he was using his credit to buy. What we see in his cart right there are the rugs. He's got 3 rugs in there. He spent about $200 on rugs. And he went there twice. The first day was on the 1st, and then I think he went back on the 4th. But you can see all the Christmas gifts and Christmas ornaments and stuff, 50% off after Christmas. So I'm surprised that store is not busier, but it was kind of early in the morning. I think it was like 9 or 10 in the morning that he went there. So we get to see him doing that. No mask. The other day, you may recall when he was at Lowe's, he had on a mask and he had on gloves. He had my gloves on, except his are purple. Who goes shopping and puts on a mask and gloves? Even a mask, you're going to see people
5
now.
years ago. 5 years ago, you did.
Well, yeah, but it was still 3 years post-COVID.
Right.
3 years. And even today, 5 years, in the city especially, and I'm sure you see this, people will wear masks occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I see a lot of people, and a lot of people have COVID around the city, and they're wearing masks because they're going back to work, right?
And they wore them before just for flu, And I know this is not racist. I'm sorry, but remember, Law and Crime was down near Koreatown. A lot of people from that culture are more likely to be wearing masks. It's just count them up. It's a fact. It's something, and same thing for China.
Yeah. It has to, and that has to do with air pollution a lot of times. So.
Yeah. And so seeing somebody in the store, as we did him 3 years later, with just a mask, that wouldn't have been too weird to me. But to see the gloves, I just
maybe he was still trying to decide whether he was hiding his identity. Who knows?
Well,
with him?
It could be that, or it could be that he was mid cleanup. I mean, I don't know. But that stood out, and so people noticed that. Here he is checking out, no mask, no gloves at the Home Goods.
I liked when he was shopping with his child for all the cleanup stuff to clean up his wife. Now, we all know that, whether or not you want to say it was conveyance or not. I mean, how could you? But he was bringing his kids with. I guess he had nothing else to do with his kids.
So here's a fun activity. Let's go shopping.
Yeah.
I'm zooming ahead just a little bit, see if there's. Then he goes out, so they have the camera that picks his exit up. There it is, right there.
I mean, this is kind of
happy shopper.
There he is.
Wah, wah.
He looks. The thing about it, it looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. I remember Scandarito when he went in, he was like shaking, and the case we talk about in Florida a lot.
Look who's back tomorrow. I'm sure I'll get arrested if I ask her a question. The girl is back. People were very curious. Who is this woman who's taking these notes? And the speculation is she's with the DA's office, and maybe she's tracking exhibits. I don't know. But we're going to find out. We're on
Well,
it.
hopefully you'll
Justice
find out
TV
because
is on it.
supposed to have a snowstorm tomorrow. So
Tomorrow, what? I thought it was just going to be a
yeah,
little bit of rain.
so I'm talking here now, snow. So maybe you better check before you leave in the morning
Well,
because
I
we
got
don't
four-wheel
want
drive in the mobile studio, so
at the mobile
don't
studio.
worry.
Okay.
Mobile
All right.
studio
Well,
is
you
four-wheeling,
were
baby. Okay,
you're
I see
great.
Dedham tomorrow is going to be a high of, stand by, 47 tomorrow.
Oh,
A
then
high.
you're okay. All
It
right.
looks
So
like
then
rain.
you're going to be answering questions at lunch again, and then we'll be back
Mhm.
on with our 6 o'clock show. And I think after our 6 o'clock show at 7, we're going to be doing
I'm
a
glad you
couple of
mentioned that.
snacks.
So what we're
Right?
going to do is what we did last week in your absence. We did a live members only, which we then crunched into snacks for the weekend for everybody. So we haven't figured out what those snacks are going to be yet, but we will, and we'll do that from. I'll be on location, and we'll do that tomorrow night for the members. So be ready. So we need your help to chime in and get us through those the process.
Yeah.
Cloudy
Yeah.
in the morning, off and on rain in the afternoon is what it says.
Yeah. By the way, I am a masker, so yeah. I mean, we have Christmas parties, and I see a lot of people talking about masks because a lot of people are immunocompromised, especially here in New York, especially we live around a hospital, and people are coming out there immunocompromised, and yeah, I'm concerned about people who are immunocompromised, and also whatever we can do to help everybody and not make fun of them. Do what you want to do.
No, I would never make fun of them. No, I'm just trying to explain, the perception of this guy in a store.
Right.
With
Well, he was a different. Well, I'm still. I can't believe he took his kid with him, but to buy stuff to
Here's some of the stuff he
cover
bought.
up his wife. But I guess he had no. It's very interesting their whole relationship because I guess he would take care of the children because he was a stay-at-home dad because he had to stay at home because of his fraud convictions, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird. It wasn't like, hey, look at this. He's dad of the year. He was kind of forced into that scenario and was making the best of it. We had people today in the chat talking about the fact he bought candles with his other items. There were a lot of comments about the romantic nature of using the candles while he's maybe
or covering up the smell if they're around. I mean, people do that or whatever. I mean, I still don't get this relationship. He bought her a Porsche.
That was the plan. At least that's what we're led to believe.
I'm very confused about this case. I think he's guilty. Now I don't know of what, because I wait to see what the prosecution. I thought it was intentional initially, but now I think it may be second degree. It may be manslaughter, and all, because the prosecution hasn't proved anything.
No, they haven't. And when they go to the closing, I mean, I can't imagine their argument, what it is for intentional murder.
Right, because it's not, you don't need a motive, but a motive would be nice here because
that helps you fill in the intent.
Yeah, if it helps fill in the intent. If she died because he was going to collect $1 gazillion in life insurance, then we have a good reason to say, well, it's first degree. But here, apparently, he's financially hurt by the fact that she died.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here's the Marshall's purchase. Let's buy some kids' toys as well as some seasonal items. And this was on the 4th, I think. Oh, this was the return. All of this stuff was returned, and then the money was spent on the cleaning goods and stuff.
Cleaning goods, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what to make of this case. I just want to know what the prosecution, did they get pushed off their game when he pleaded guilty to getting rid of the body, and therefore they tried the same case and then are going to argue the same evidence for intent, and that I don't see the same evidence for intent being applicable. But that doesn't mean he won't get convicted because he's
no. I fully expect
really
he will. But we're talking about the mechanism that gets the jury there. And it's sort of a jury, it's almost a jury nullification. Don't worry about finding any intent. We'll give you enough other stuff to be so outraged about. You just find it.
Well, he is kind of, you always say, don't underestimate the power of likability. He is not likable.
No, he's not. No, the inverse is definitely true. Don't underestimate the power of unlikability.
Yeah.
Here he goes, just shopping.
No problem. Just hanging out, just doing regular day at, what we see on this network.
Yep, it's real world. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that he's buying there. What was on this list? What is that? Oh, those are like floor mats, like bath mats.
Okay.
Yeah, smaller rugs. I've not heard anything about the destruction of or the evidentiary value of any bath mats, but perhaps it exists. And then off we go to the next. This was, a series of different stops. Is he actually kind of smiling? Is he grimacing?
He's smiling in the courtroom. He's smiling. I mean, it's not like he's smiling like, I've had clients, the judge cracks a joke. We all smile. We all laugh.
Again,
He's
break
just
the tension.
smiling. Yeah. He's just smiling all over the place. He's smiling.
Yeah, it's
so disgusting. And yet she wanted to stay with him, according to the man that she was having the affair with him. She loved him and wanted to stay with him. So I don't know what to make of this case.
That confused me too, because they apparently had, according to her boyfriend, a 1, 3, 5, and 10-year plan.
Right.
I don't even have that, but they actually had that. So what is that like? I'm going to be your closeted affair lover, and here's how it's going to roll out in 3, 5, 10 years. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. We'll see what the jury thinks the prosecution has proven beyond a reasonable doubt. But he's going away, and he's also got to do his time on the the Andy Warhol.
Yeah, and that'll all be, in theory, they'll do the Fed time first, and that's going to be Club Fed, 37 months white collar crime, right? Mm-hmm. Then he's going to be smacked in the face by the big house in state prison as a murderer or at least a disappearer. Yeah. So
and the inmates do not like people who kill women or children, as we know.
Yeah, you're right. He will be he will not be with the cool kids in prison. Let's put it that way.
Nope. By the way, I love that hat. Did I say that before? I'm going to say
yes,
it
you
again.
did. Yeah, they did. When I ordered it, I was the first to order it, and they were trying to stitch it like on the hat, and this is a patch which is embroidered, but then they just put the patch on there. It makes perfect sense. So you get a little better quality of that.
Yeah, take a look at the store.
There's some Christmas shopping to be done. I was telling folks the other day, I got something for everybody in the family, some little something. So
I know. I
actually 2-month-old and up.
I actually made up the little.
onesie.
There's the little onesies for your grandkids. Whoa! We have the wolves.
What's going on? Somebody breaking in?
I think Tubi is taking a stand. He's voting. He's like, whoa, my goodness gracious. I saw Domino today was like chilling on the couch. Tubi's like, woo.
Yeah, people told me to move aside. Could you please move out of the way so we can see the dog? Thank you. Story of my life.
Have a great trip tomorrow. Before you all go, hit that subscribe. We're going to stalled on the subscriptions, guys. Everyone's. We're stalled. We need to unstall.
We really are. And I don't know if it's because people don't like us or because the YouTube overlords are squashing people. And make sure if you think you were subscribed, double check because weird stuff's happening. Okay, go feed Tubi.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see you from Dedham. In the meantime, try to do the right thing.